In our last video, we talked about the breath of life and how the world has hidden it. And this subject is one of those that the more you look into it, the more mind blown you're going to be. And a lot of the things that blow me away are things that you guys bring to my attention. And I came across a researcher who reached out to us and has been making a website that deals with all of this stuff. I will show you, it's right here. It's called christianobserver.net, and the lady who has put this together, her name is Yvonne. She has done a great job talking about things that most of you are interested in, and we cannot talk about it on here without getting deleted. So I recommend you check that out if you want to learn a little bit more. But the things that I have been looking into and footage I have been seeing reveals that we're onto something. And it's that hidden wisdom that the word talks about. It's the Father's wisdom, and the world is hiding it and making people who find it seem like fools. And the foolish wisdom likes to put out articles like this, where it says, not bot, not beast. Scientists create, and they use the word create falsely, first ever living programmable organisms. This is an older article from January of 2020. And this is the sort of thing that people believe. They think that scientists can create living robots. They can't. You can read the article yourself. All they do is take stem cells, which they still don't understand, and they alter them by cutting away at them, doing different things, modifying them. They are changing these cells. They aren't creating anything that's alive whatsoever. So I just wanted to point that out because many people are saying, well, what about these scientists that are working on creating life? They're not creating life whatsoever. And the footage that I've come across is something I wanted to replicate myself under a microscope, but I found out it's really expensive. They use a special dye to dye these cells, and it's the product itself is hundreds of dollars. And if anyone has access to these, maybe in a lab somewhere at a college, and you can talk your professors into doing this, I recommend it because it reveals the breath of life like you wouldn't imagine. And I'm going to show you again to sort of refresh your memory what the animators are showing us the inside of a cell looks like. And imagine all of these little bits and pieces inside of the cell you're about to see while it's undergoing cell division. And here it is. It looks like an animation, but this is not an animation. This is an actual kidney cell, and this footage is authentic. They use a special dye that I wanted to get my hands on and use. However, I would have to take out some sort of grant or loan to buy this stuff, quite expensive. But this stuff makes these cells literally expose what's going on. And it's not like the animations that I draw out for my kids or have in the past. I will no longer be doing that. I will be showing them real footage of this stuff, what it really looks like, what we call microtubules shooting out right here. These things are not like the drawings I've seen or the explanations I've given in the past. Just watch this stuff and look at how they guide these chromosomes as if they are geniuses, as if they have brains. They have something guiding them to do what they're doing. And I believe 100% this is the breath of life that we can't replicate in action. You will watch and see for yourself. This is not random. We are not random. This is unfolding like something they would tell us is magic if it was happening on a larger scale in some sort of cartoon where they promote magic like crazy. Look at this. Something at work, a force in motion, and all of a sudden it pulls apart. How? What force? They tell us it's some polar force. How do those polar forces know to just kick in once they have everything divided equally with your chromosomes, the matching pairs being divided to both sides of the cells? Look at that. It's mind blowing how beautiful this is. And I thought the nucleus was the brain of the cell. Looks like these guys taking the credit. The breath of life in action. I mean, this stuff right here just gives you chills how awesome it is. Wow. I could watch this all day. This is something scientists cannot replicate. They try to alter it, modify it, genetically modifying everything, injecting us with Lord knows what, and this is what they're after. They're trying to alter the breath of life in any way they can. These evil alchemists that are getting trillions of dollars right now doing things we can't mention on here without getting shut down. But I'm going to dig into this because there are questions that my students have asked that have caused me to look into things and find some really weird answers. And one of those has to do with reproduction. They asked me, why is it that humans can't reproduce with animals? That's a good question because when you look back to the past, you see all sorts of half animal and half human looking creatures on these maps that are just from about 500 years ago when history was really getting changed. Lots of things were in motion, and within the last 100 years, we've seen changes that are unprecedented as far as we know. However, that question had me repeating what I learned in college about these prezygotic and postzygotic barriers, and but the number of chromosomes was one of the things that I regurgitated and repeated, and this made me ask myself, are there any organisms that have the same amount of chromosomes as we do? And what do you know? There is. And they look an awful lot like this. Talked about this in another video. I'm not saying that this type of breeding relationship is possible, but isn't it very odd that the statues, the idols they worship look like the one animal or one of the animals that has the same amount of chromosomes as we do? I've done some more research since I found this out. This was a few years back. There are other animals that have 46 chromosomes. Here's one. Look at this thing. This freak has fangs and looks like a little herbivore, but it has fangs and antlers. Didn't even know these things existed until I looked into this. And the other one that has 46, right here, look at the antlers on this thing. Kind of familiar, like all of the symbology they show us with Satan, which I don't believe that's Satan. I think this is just a representation of probably some past experiments they've done, things they've created, a new type of flesh that can probably be inhabited by these demons, just like when the demons were cast into the swine many, many years ago. Maybe there's a way they can do that. I don't know. Nothing I can find in the Bible about this. I do know that back in the days of Noah, they had corrupted all flesh, and maybe this is part of that corruption. I do not know. I'm not an expert in that field. I just think that putting these things out there and letting you guys make the connections like I have may help you in your research. Who knows? But very interesting. And I wanted to talk about that in this video along with other things. And the last thing I want to talk about is what the word tells us the breath of life is. Because it's something we all have, and it's extremely important that we not alter the structures within us with the alchemy of this world, because that's what they're after. They're trying to hurt creation in any way they can. His beloved creation is always under attack because he loves them and they are against him. When the Son of the Most High was here doing his Father's will perfectly, people were being healed from these sicknesses and diseases caused by demons. His will is for you to be healed. No matter what your illness is, his will is for you to be restored and be healed. And the world likes to keep that from you and cast the blame on him. Our job since the garden has been to undo the work of the deceivers. Their work is hurting the beloved creations. Our work is undoing their work. When the Messiah was raising people from the dead using his Father's power, he was not undoing his Father's work. He was fulfilling the will of the Most High. And that is a beautiful truth that this world is hiding from many people. A lot of people are atheists because there's bad things happening. Yes, that is true. We are here to do the Father's will and bring people out of that slavery, see the miracles happen as they will and can happen. They're not just a thing of the past. I know from experience that these miracles still happen today. They are real. The Father's power is real, His love is real, His mercy is great, and it's one of those things that we need to put out there by just sharing His light as we go out into this world. But I'm going to end by reading these verses here about the breath of life so that you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're watching this and you have no clue what that is, the Bible tells us when creation was happening, it says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." And then in Job it says, "The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life." It's given all of us life. He breathed it that one time, and it is carried forward and cannot be replicated. We can make animations of cells, we can make animations of DNA that no one has seen, but only the Father knows what's going on inside of each of our cells. And He has shared this with us in His Word. It's the breath of life. We can pretend that the complexity of life itself doesn't exist and that Darwin and his little theories were correct, but we are irreducibly complex. That's a word some of you struggling with thoughts of evolution need to look up. Irreducible complexity. Even the smallest aspects of single celled life have that. The flagellum of a single celled organism is the equivalent of a motor. This thing has parts that none of them can be removed and it still function. So irreducible complexity is one of those things that will help strengthen your trust and faith in the Creator. We are complex machines and we are no accident. And that's why I'm doing this video and this little series of videos to expose that. The truth about creation is one way to do it, but the evolution and the lies of that is what the Father used to help guide me this direction. And I am thankful He did. Becoming a fool to this world is worth it. It's beautiful. It brings you closer to Him. And that's our desire for you all, that you experience that and get away from the emptiness of this world. Going through a depression, step outside, look up, and just know that He is close and that you are a beloved creation of the Most High, and that will change you. Because when you start to talk to Him, you'll see a change. When you start to walk with Him, you'll start to change others. So I thank you guys for helping us share this stuff. You all are amazing people that we are humbled to be in fellowship with. I love you guys. I'm going to get on here either Friday night or Saturday night and do a live hangout with a special celebrity guest. I hope you guys enjoy that, and I hope it goes great and the Spirit moves there as well. And I look forward to the fellowship with you guys when that time comes. We'll see you soon. Take care, stay safe, and stay ready.